This is the newsroom for today, Thursday, January 21, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarsi TV in Partika. In the headlines, Courtney Benn Contracting Services paid $400 million to repair 3 vessels, but no work has been done.
Now, somebody need to explain that to me because that doesn't mesh well in my head.
Works well advanced for the new road link between Diamond and Eccles on the east bank of Demerara. Clerks distributing COVID-19 cash grants threatened by residents. And ex-con Carl Brown speaks about corruption and cruelty in the prison service.
The amount of things I've witnessed in this prison, it gets me scared to even go back into.
And in sport, fitness of Guyana Jaguars players equally important as performance, and National Community Basketball League makes return after 8-year hiatus. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that already facing a $414 million lawsuit from the state, Courtney Benn Contracting Services is again being accused of delinquency on another project it was awarded by the APNU AFC government. This time, the company is being investigated for a $400 million payment it received for repairs to 3 vessels that it is yet to begin the rehabilitation works on. Kurt Campbell tells us more.
One day after the company was served legal documents of a $414 million lawsuit and flagged by the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament for a $100 million outstanding restitution owed to the state since 2016, Courtney Benn Contracting Services is being called out yet again by Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar. Speaking to the newsroom via Zoom on Thursday, Indar said Courtney Benn Contracting Services was paid some $400 million for repairs and rehabilitation to 3 vessels, but nothing has been done. Indar said the vessels remain in dry dock with grass and other vegetation growing from and around it. The minister identified the 3 vessels as the MV Baramani, for which the firm was paid some $300 million, the Allen Young, for which over $30 million was paid, and the Seamang, for which another $66 million was paid to the contractor. Minister Indar said with the monies paid in full for the contracts, the vessels remained untouched with no work done.
When we looked at the file, we can't find the measured works to give the progress payments. When you look at the asset that they're supposed to fix, it's not fixed. It was never touched. But yet the contractor was paid all the money, $300 million for the Baramani. The other one is the Seamang. $66 million contract, again by Maritime Department, and all the monies were paid out, and the vessel, there's grass growing on the vessel. I have pictures of it. The other one is the Allen Young. A lot of money was spent on Allen Young, and the works were not completed. So there you are with over, I would say how much? It's close to $400 million. Of money. I mean, the small thing about the payments for the personal thing is that it is embarrassing to them. But here now you have material amount of taxpayers' money being spent, and the taxpayer got nothing in return for it.
Additionally, Indar said no paperwork can be found on the measured works done by the contractor. The minister said the only documentation that can be found are vouchers for payments. To this end, he said an investigation has been launched.
Now, somebody need to explain that to me because that doesn't mesh well in my head. That does not represent how contracts have been administered. You have to pay the mobilization, and as you do the work, the contractor submits a progress report, and the engineer from the department will have to go verify that the work has been done, and then he will create a estimation of work completed, and the sums associated with that is paid. So those documents were nowhere to be seen. We've checked and checked with MARAD, and we could not have found them. I met with the finance people at MARAD, and they could not have found them. All I saw was vouchers.
Indar said the National Tender Board will have to be appraised of this so that the contracting firm will not go on to benefit from future contracts while these remain outstanding. On Thursday, the company was flagged by the Public Accounts Committee for outstanding sums of $100 million since 2016 because of an overpayment on a project relating to the upgrading of the East Coast Highway. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Works, Vladimir Prasad, said this is just one of several road projects that the contractor has been delinquent on. Also on Wednesday, the state filed a lawsuit against Courtney Benn Contracting Services and its insurance provider, CARICOM General Insurance Company, for breach of contract with regards to the reconstruction of the St. Rose's High School. For the Newsroom, I'm Kurt Campbell.
Now, President Irfaan Ali on Thursday reassured that by the end of April 2021, there will be an alternative road link between Diamond and Eccles on the east bank of Demerara. With construction well advanced for linking the East Bank Demerara communities, it is seen as a part of government strategy to ease congestion along the busy East Bank Demerara corridor. President Ali posted pictures and videos on his Facebook page of what appears to be a bridge under construction. The project has been promised for a while now and would bring considerable relief to commuters who use the East Bank corridor daily and are forced to contend with long lines and traffic buildup. The alternative link was first announced in 2015 by the former President Donald Ramotar. It is being done in conjunction with a bypass road from the East Bank to Ogle on the East Coast. President Ali has a larger plan for the East Bank corridor, promising heavy investments in road infrastructure. The Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Dharamlal, revealed on Thursday that clerks distributing the COVID-19 $25,000 cash grant have been facing threats by residents in communities along the East Bank and East Coast of Demerara. While there are numerous reports of persons being denied the cash grant, the minister also noted that some persons are being dishonest and collecting the grant twice. Isnal Patwa reports.
The distribution of the COVID-19 $25,000 cash grant in Region 4 started early in December last year and is nearing completion. However, there are reports of the distribution clerks being threatened by residents. Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Dharamlal, spoke with the newsroom via telephone on Thursday and explained what has been happening.
What the issue we have moving forward is that some people are violating the process by being violent towards some of the distributors, the clerks who are distributing. Some of our clerks have been held against their will, locked in people's yards. They've been threatened with physical abuse. They have been verbally abused, and that's counterproductive to a peaceful process.
There are also reports from residents who claim that they are being denied the money, particularly persons living in squatting areas. Recently, squatters at Success East Coast at Demerara held a protest action claiming that they are being bypassed by the distributors. The issuance of the cash grant is being done firstly to the primary householder, and whenever they are other family members or tenants, those persons are being issued with a pink form, which will serve as the instrument to be used to verify those candidates for future consideration. According to Minister Dharamlal, squatters are also required to fill out the pink form. The minister said a number of squatters were already verified and they received the cash grant. He noted that the process is timely because it has to be done properly and therefore called for more patience from residents.
Our position as a government has not changed, and that is every household who is eligible will receive a cash grant. And the primary households that right now, if anyone is an independent household and there is an issue, then they fill out the pink form. As long as the pink form is verified or audited and verified that they're eligible, they will receive.
Meanwhile, an investigation has been launched for persons who collected the grant twice. In some instances, the police got involved and the residents returned the money. A total of $7 billion has been budgeted for the distribution of the grant, but this only covers the first phase of distribution. More money would be needed to cater for persons given the pink forms in the second phase. Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, had noted in December last year that some 16,375 persons who have been issued pink forms will be captured in the second phase of the exercise. Citizens are being reminded that there is no requirement for pre-registration for the grant. The grant is delivered on a house-to-house basis by authorized officials who must be wearing their COVID-19 identification badges. 2 community distribution clerks wearing specially designed COVID-19 identity badges will visit your home accompanied by community leaders, armed police security, and their supervisors. Any discrepancies with the exercise are being investigated and necessary action will be taken. The Auditor General has also been tasked to audit the entire cash grant distribution. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwo.
Thank you, Isanella. When the newsroom returns, an ex-cop is arrested for pretending to be a Kanu officer, and the health minister sends a strong warning to restaurants in breach of the COVID-19 guidelines. This is the newsroom. In the backlist East Coast Demerara man who was charged in 2016 with 4 counts of forgery and later found guilty was on Wednesday again arrested by police, this time for pretending to be an employee of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, CANU. Kevin McDonald, who is known as Brother Fraud, remains in police custody at the Brigdam Police Station as the investigators probe fresh allegations that he attempted to arrest a young man while pretending to be a CANU officer. According to the young man's friend, Raj Prasad, who later posted a video of McDonald's arrest on Facebook, the incident occurred Wednesday afternoon in the vicinity of Thomas and Middle Streets in Georgetown. He said McDonald presented himself to the friend, who has been identified only as Damon, neatly dressed and wearing a body camera, and attempting to handcuff him and place him into a tinted Toyota Premio he was driving. McDonald is a former policeman who now works at Innovative Advisory and Security Services. He reportedly claimed that Damon was wanted on narcotics-related charges and that he was going to take him to the Brigdam Police Station. Prasad posted on his Facebook page that while Damon was resisting arrest and demanding that McDonald properly identify himself, 2 police ranks on bike patrol approached the scene. McDonald reportedly jumped into his car and drove away, but he was pursued by the ranks and cornered. When he could not provide his ID to substantiate his claims of being a CANU rank, he was arrested and taken to the Brigdam Police Station. Prasad said while at the station giving his statement, someone else saw McDonald and claimed that he also tried to rob them while posing as a CANU rank. Almost a year after restaurants were forced to close due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the National COVID-19 Task Force last week gave the green light to reopen, but under strict restrictions. The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, on Thursday revealed that the restaurants which are found in breach of the protocols in place will be shut down. In the amended gazetted order, indoor and outdoor dining is now permitted between the hours of 4 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Indoor dining is, however, restricted to 40% of the capacity of the dining area. The Guyana Tourism Authority was given the responsibility to monitor all restaurants and to also give approval to reopen once all measures are being adhered to.
GTA has been working with the restaurant owners. They make an assessment of the capacity of the restaurant. And when they complete that exercise, they then would be able to give approval or don't give approval. Once you have all the things in place, there's a checklist that they're using, and once you have all the different things on the checklist in place, they'll give you approval. And they also put a sign on the restaurant to indicate to persons what is the capacity of the restaurant. So in case anybody turn up and, if the restaurant can only accommodate 20 persons and there is 40 persons in there, then that's a breach of the agreement that we have with the particular restaurant. And from time to time, people would be randomly checking to ensure that there's compliance. And if people are breaching it, well, then we'll have to resort to closing the facility down. Because all these things are given with the understanding and trust that the owners would be doing the right thing. If they don't comply, then it would leave us with very little alternatives. So we hope that people can understand what we are trying to achieve here is a balance, but you can't do that to the detriment of the public's health. And we really believe that we need that type of collaboration, and if everybody works together, I think we can do this safely.
Now, residents of Lowlands, East Coast, Demerara were on Wednesday afternoon promised improved drainage and irrigation following a visit to the area by the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa. Danica Paul reports.
During the meeting, residents expressed their frustration with the drainage system in the community, while calling for rehabilitation works to be done to the main road and for squatters in the area to be given lands. The Vice Chairman of the Lowlands Community Development Council said the current state of the community drainage system poses a serious health risk to residents.
My concern within our area here is that our drainage system is very, very bad. When we walk around our village, I normally does not, especially on the southern side of this village, the drain is so clogged up with bushes and then some of these, what you call the culvert, blocked up that when the rain fall, the water being left stopped, especially on the northern side, the southern side in fact. And what happened is that by stocked up there, the water raised and not getting out, it affect not only the crop or the livestock with the people that live around the area.
Danmati Bishram, a resident of Lowlands, also complained about the drainage situation.
We have real bad drainage, really bad drainage. And I've made a report to the NDC about the 3rd Street. That street doesn't have any culvert. And because of the COVID, that is why maybe they didn't come. But I think the housing people was wrong here one time, and I complained to them, and they said they're going to look into the matter. But a couple days ago, the villagers, because of not getting the drainage, the villagers asked around for a little donation and buy 10-inch pipe and bust the dam and put it at the bottom and through the dam, and now we get a little relief.
In response to the many complaints, the minister said he will contact the respective ministries to work along with the residents to resolve the issues and bring some level of comfort.
I have seen some of the roads that I have drove through just now, and some of the roads are deplorable. That main area there, that main road we'll have to have a proper engineering study on that road because the canals, both ends, are very deep, and it's breaking the road, causing the road to break.
The minister also promised the intervention of the Public Works Ministry to conduct remedial work on the main road.
So I promise you that I will send 3 of my colleagues. I will send the Minister of Housing and Water, Mr. Kroll. I will ask the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Mr. Nigel Daramlal, to come, and ask my colleague, Mr. Edgil, to come in and look at the roads for you all.
Minister Mustafa was accompanied by senior officials of the ministry. He assured the residents that all matters raised at the meeting will be addressed in a timely manner. The minister also encouraged residents to continue engaging the different ministries on issues affecting them. Reporting for Newsroom, I am Danica Powell.
Still ahead on the Newsroom, an ex-con, Carl Brown, speaks about corruption and cruelty in the prison service. This is the Newsroom. Sent to prison in 1997 on a murder charge which he still challenges as wrongful imprisonment, Carl Brown served his time and walked out of the prison a free man in 2008 with nothing but the clothes on his back and $7,000 in cash. Now at age 62, Brown is a 2-time prison escapee, once in 1998, which was short-lived, and another time in 2000, which lasted for 10 years. During that time, he lost his left arm while hiding out in neighboring Venezuela. During an extensive interview with the Newsroom's Kurt Campbell, Brown talks about his time behind bars and puts forward his own recommendations for a turnaround of what he says is a most inhumane experience.
The amount of things I've witnessed in this prison, it got me scared to even go back into prison. It was hell with Satan and his disciple. Wow. Money in prison is next to God. And it's a place that has money all the time. Because I personally,
cash money.
I used to get cash money.
And what would you use that money?
I used to send them by my marijuana, send them by my cigarettes, and I would do a thing. In most of the systems, especially Guyana prison service, there's corruption. And this is one thing I'm sure that Mr. Benn, Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, is fighting against the corruption. But the corruption in the prison, for me, is one of the hardest tasks this government or any government to eradicate.
Why do you say that?
Because I know, it's like they say, stricter the government, wiser the population. There was possibilities of having sex if you're priced right. If you got money and could think, because I had sex in prison with matrons. Because everybody looking for a dollar. I would not call many of them names openly. But they know themselves and they know them. but hustle. They hustle in so many different forms in prison. It is amazing. And trying to eradicate it is just a waste of money. What they should do is things like cigarettes. Because I would say Guyana, for all the prisoners I've known, Guyana is the only prison that cigarette is a problem. Face some barbaric treatments, living solitary, body belt, different diets, no sunlight, very little exercise. The only prison I did not go to was Lusignan. But I've spent time at the Tamari, at the Borabis, at the Georgetown prison, which would have been the worst prison, especially under the directors they had. The administrative part was barbaric, very brutal. In spite, they never really hit me in the Georgetown prison, but they did that to me at Mazaruni after I spoke about the massacre that the time was created in the Georgetown prison the 2nd of March 2016. They said President Benn had given them instruction to break me up. I don't know how true that is, but I know I was brutalized there. Anyhow, the conditions of the prison at the then time, the food, not my food, because I used to get a special type of food because I fought with.
You fought on?
I fought with.
Right.
But for the other inmates, the food was not a balanced diet and it was inadequate. When an inmate leaves a prison to be reintegrated into society, there's not soon he leaves the prison gate, that's the end of him in the prison system. And if he's lucky to come out with some money, before long it's finished, he's back in the street. Most of the youth them turn to drugs because there's no system for them. There's no. Guyana needs a halfway home. Now when prisoners come, before they come out, you put them in something and you're ensured that when they leave the halfway home, they can go into a home, they have a job. But all they do here is kick out the gate and that's it. No more concern. Unfortunately for some of those like Derek Prasad, who lives in the street, during the Christmas season, he's highly considered by every prison officer because he makes about the best furnitures in the country, and all of them could exploit his labor and have a beautiful Christmas decorated house. First of all, you need more well-trained officers. You need more programs with trade. Teach them joinery, teach them carpentry, teach them mechanic, teach them construction. Because time and time again we hear of so much of programs, but out of a prison with 1,000 people, you got 10 or 15 people attending. The biggest program they ever had in prison, which would have carried about 40 people or more, it used to be the drug rehabilitation program. But other than that, nothing goes on. Country to have a better prison. First of all, they have to replace the whole head of the prison system. They have to bring, and it's also sad to say that the PPP once tried it when they put a man by the name of Shots. They took him from the police force and put him as director. But they bombarded him and they even almost tried to put him in prison with a rape charge. So, in order for us to have a better prison system, they have to transfer some of these people over to some other military organization and take people from other military organization with the qualification and with a bit of humanity and put them there. They will never have a better prison if they keep these people here.
Now, residents of Region 6 could soon benefit from government's intervention in several areas following the visit of a ministerial team to the region. Sheena Henry reports.
The Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell, recently visited the Regional Democratic Council in Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine, detailing some of the administration's plans for the region. With various officials and staff present, the minister noted that a recent visit was made to the University of Guyana's Tain campus in the region, where some 300 house lots were allocated.
I just want to briefly say, though, that Region number 6, there are plans on stream. Their activities have already commenced. Last year, you saw us announcing a number of works to commence here in Region number 6 to the tune of $54 million. I can tell you, in our 2021 program, we intend to invest in infrastructure works a minimum of $2 billion in the initial phase.
He added that the region can look forward to wealth generation and employment opportunities.
But at the end of the day, this is what we work for. We work to make the lives of our citizens much more comfortable and to make your work much easier.
Regional Executive Officer Mr. Navendra Prasad said the administration made a decision to be engaging so that the region could further progress. Reporting for the Newsroom, I'm Sheena Henry.
When the Newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sports. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. Cricket Guyana Inc. has come in for widespread criticism over the composition of the Guyana Jaguars squad and the omission of some players for next month's Regional Super 50 in Antigua. Chairman of Selectors Rayon Griffith, in an exclusive interview with the Newsroom Sport on Thursday, explained that performance is not the sole criteria for selection and that fitness is also an extremely important aspect that they consider.
You have baseline performances, you have different things, you have fitness tests too also involved when it comes to selection, right? We already talk about potential players that you could always develop also. But performances is something big, yeah, but as I said, fitness is just as performances.
In February 2020, when Chairman Head Myron Evan Lewis were dropped from the West Indies one-day international squad for a tour to Sri Lanka, Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket, Jamie Adams, said irrespective of how productive a player is regarding on-field performances, fitness must go hand in hand if they are to play international cricket. The policy also trickled down to the regional cricket, and in the past it has been used as a factor in the level of contracts players are awarded. The former West Indies captain further clarified the required minimum standard is that of 40 on the yo-yo test. The yo-yo test is a maximal aerobic endurance fitness test involving running between markers placed 20 meters apart at increasing levels of speed until exhaustion. Newsroom Sport was reliably informed by other sources that several players did not meet the required mark on the yo-yo test, and it was also factoring into the non-selection for the Guyana Jaguars.
I was a bit disappointed with some of the results that I saw when it comes to the fitness test. I think that they had enough time to get themselves in order, and it's very hard, and it's not just this year, it's a consistent thing that's happening, so at some point I will have to put it to end, so I really want to draw the line at this present time, so I did draw the line. As I said, I had enough time, but otherwise than that, I've realized some county boards and some members also had a concern about why players are not being selected, which I would urge them to try and get the players fit before they come into our fitness tests. I mean, they also can help these players. We don't have to do all the work. We need people who could help the players also. But I mean, everybody wants to see the players in the team, but the question is how much you really helping your players them to understand what is international cricket, what you're trying to achieve.
COVID-19 affected most cricket activities in 2020, and until November 1, 2020, the government opted to allow sport activities to resume and gyms to open at 50% capacity. However, since the shutdown in March, the players were engaged in sessions via Zoom, and some players from their social media posts were seen being innovative in their method of staying fit. The fitness test was conducted on January 14 at a National Track and Field facility, Leonora.
And it showed that some of the players, they were putting in some work, which they had some high scores, they had some in between score, they had some low scores. But as I said, most importantly, if you're disciplined enough, and if you're hungry enough, or you want to represent the country, you would put the work in, instead of just waiting for when competition get close, then trying to get fit. It even, as an example, when you look back at CPL, that was something also. It was shocking to see how many players turn up unfit when it was CPL. So if we cannot learn from the last tournament and then coming back into another tournament, I mean, other players out there also were watching the competition, and they must know when a player look unfit or when they could see them not looking fit in terms of how the movement on the field, how the bowling, how the batting, depends how the running between the wickets. It do expose the weaknesses in terms of your thinking also.
The resident assistant coach said they do consider players who do not reach the standard, but over time consistently show improvement in their results. In response to some consistent performers at a domestic tournament being overlooked, he urged them to keep training since there are opportunities that may soon come. Meanwhile, the coach said he is disappointed in the output of the batsmen in the 2 practice matches thus far at Lebon Intention. He understands that there is a new pitch and it is still settling, but felt the batsmen could still apply themselves. At Wednesday's second practice match, the side, which consisted primarily of the Guyana Jaguars batsmen, were bundled out for 109 in 32.1 overs. Openers Chandra Paul Hemraj and Trevon Griffith had the best scores of 41 and 60 respectively. Gudikish Moti took 5-22 in 10 overs. In response, Kevin Anderson, who opened the batting, made an attractive 34. Tevin Imlach, one of the Jaguars' new selectees, made 17 before he was left before to Christopher Barnwell, who picked up 2 for 28. Dejaran Chandrapal, with 28 not out, struck a 4 and a 6 of Anthony Adams to win the match in 19.3 overs. Their third and final practice match is scheduled for Friday from 9 hours. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Paceman Aljari Joseph said West Indies are up for the challenge of levelling the 3-match one-day international series when they face the hosts in the second match on Friday. More from Akim Green.
West Indies went down by 6 wickets in the first ODI after being bowled out for 122. Joseph gave them a steady start before left-arm spinner Akil Hussain showed that their bowling has a bite that their batting lacked.
Everyone is aware of what's at stake, and everyone is really pumped up to give a better showing in the second ODI. It's really important for us to come in and, this game is even more important than the last one, because if, like you said, if we lose this game, it's the series. So everyone knows exactly what they need to do. Everyone is ready for the challenge.
West Indies could have made a bigger score on Wednesday, particularly after Kyle Mears and Ruffin Powell added 59 runs for the 6th wicket. But from 115 for 5, they slipped 122 all out. He explained the management offered words of encouragement to the batsmen to do a better job.
It was more words of encouragement yesterday evening after the game, because obviously we also didn't do our best in terms of putting up a challenge in total. So it was more words of encouragement, giving the guys the confidence to come back and do better in this second ODI.
Joseph, who went wicketless in his 8 overs but was highly economical, is the leader of this current attack with 29 ODI caps under his belt at the age of 24. He said he's looking forward to the challenge.
Obviously, it's something I look forward to. It's a new challenge, with, like you said, all the pullouts and all. It's a new challenge, but it's something I accept with open arms and something I expect myself to, lead from the front.
The second ODI will be played again in Dhaka from 1:30 Eastern Caribbean time. In the first ODI, West Indies fielded 6 debutants. For the newsroom, Markham Green.
Basketball news now. After an initial audition in 2012, the National Community Basketball League is back with renewed focus and a more solid foundation in which to build for long-term and sustainable development. One of the directors, Kwame Mentor, spoke of the goals and aspirations during a media launch on Thursday at the Sleeping International Hotel and Casino in Georgetown.
The NCBL is now a non-profit organization that is registered in the courts of Guyana. And it's now an incorporated body. And so we are serious about what we are doing. And you can just look around and see the type of effort and work that has gone into this initial phase of bringing this information to you. It took we've been meeting every week, every Wednesday night since last April. I kid you not. The foundation is strong. We have 6 executive members who make up the board. We have a single focus, and that is to develop the sport in the communities. Now, we choose the community because we went around. We visited about 20-some courts across Guyana. And I gotta tell you, the state of our facilities, deplorable. When you go on the court in Boston and you see the guys, 15, 20 guys playing ball with one backboard and the other backboard broken up. And they're passionate about the game. They're playing hours. That inspires you to do something. Just providing something better for them, a better environment, a better playing facility would make the world of a difference. And so we've chosen the community aspect of basketball to be our focus because we believe that that's where the greatest need lies.
Meanwhile, the Georgetown Amateur Basketball Association, GABA, has welcomed the return of the National Community Basketball League, while plans for an upcoming tournament were shared at a relaunch on Thursday in Georgetown. Speaking at the function were GABA's Public Relations Officer, Roll Tony, and Logistics and Technical Officer of the League, Mark Bradford. The league will be played in regions 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10.
It is expected to be a broad-based community league that is going to be subject to an initial start of 16 wards with potential of expanding to 24 or 32 to accommodate our goal of community basketball and taking basketball to the community. With this focus and the lessons of the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation, the member associations, including Georgetown, the pivotal support and the technical support from the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation's technical department is paramount. Paramount in the development that in every community now, moving forward, all the youngsters who would have had the interest in basketball will now be registered under the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation's database.
From a corporate standpoint, this is an event that I definitely would want to support. And I would have had a conversation with Kwame, I think it was yesterday, about support from an entity in which I am their brand ambassador for, and we will have foreign engagement with it. But coming here today, I'm more enthused. But more importantly, as a basketball fan, this is some degree of return to normalcy for anyone who loves the game of basketball in Guyana. Let me just say this. Anytime you see someone promoting the sport of basketball, just know that they're not doing it for the sake of money, because you can't make no money from this. Quite frankly, you're doing it because you genuinely, really and truly love the game, and this is you volunteering your time. So from a basketball standpoint, this is some degree of return to normalcy, and the Georgetown Amateur Basketball Association is happy to give their blessings to this tournament. In fact, we would have outlined to the team headed by Kwame and Sugar and Marlon and Tristan that this aligns perfectly with what the Georgetown Amateur Basketball wants to do, with what the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation wants to achieve in seeing mass participation for the sport.
And finally, all-rounder Ben Stokes and fast bowler Jofra Archer have returned to the England squad for the first 2 test matches of the Tour of India. Both Stokes and Archer were rested for the current series in Sri Lanka. Batsman Rory Burns, who has been on paternity leave, also returns, but Oli Pope is yet to fully recover from a shoulder injury. Johnny Bairstow, Mark Wood and Sam Curran will all be rested for the first half of the 4-test series. The series begins on February 5 with the first 2 test matches taking place in Chennai. The 3rd match, a day-nighter, and the 4th test are in Ahmedabad. England have only named the squad for the first 2 test matches, with 4 of the players due to be rested for the second half of the series, as workloads are managed in a year that is set to include 17 test matches and a T20 World Cup, potentially all in biosecure conditions. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.